Some stories in the wild don't end with the hunt. Sometimes they begin after it should have been over. On a frozen mountainside, one old wolf stood beside the last elk of the valley, not attacking, not leaving for hours. Then through the night, the predator simply remained. Why would a hunter refuse to finish the hunt? The answer reveals a side of nature that few ever get to witness. Winter has little mercy. Deep snow buries the grass. Rivers shrink beneath ice. Every meal becomes a gamble, and every step burns precious energy. For wolves, survival depends on the strength of the pack and the weakness of their prey. Healthy elk rarely fall. The old, the injured, and the exhausted are nature's usual bargain. But this winter was different. The herd had grown dangerously small after months of harsh weather and constant pressure from predators. Among them remained one ancient bull elk, scarred by countless seasons and slowed by age. His antlers were broken, his body was thin. Yet somehow he had survived every storm. Watching from the forest edge was an aging wolf. Unlike the younger hunters, this wolf no longer relied on speed alone. Years had taught him patience, timing, and the value of conserving energy. When he finally approached the old elk, everyone would expect the same ending. Instead, something unexpected happened. The elk stumbled into deep snow and became trapped. The wolf moved closer. Closer still. Then he stopped. Minutes passed, nothing. The elk struggled to rise, breathing clouds into the icy air. The wolf watched without charging, without biting, almost as if he were measuring something only he could understand. Scientists have observed wolves hesitating before attacking when the risks outweigh the reward. Even a weakened elk can deliver a kick powerful enough to break ribs or crush a skull. For an older wolf, one serious injury could mean starvation. But was that the only reason? As darkness settled over the valley, the wolf remained nearby, not close enough to threaten, not far enough to disappear. It became an uneasy silence between two survivors who had spent their entire lives on opposite sides of nature's oldest struggle. Predator, prey, each carrying the weight of countless winters. By morning, something remarkable had happened. The elk had freed himself. Weak and trembling, he slowly climbed out of the snow, expecting the chase that never came. The wolf simply watched, then lowered his head and walked away. At first glance, it might seem like compassion, but nature rarely follows human emotions. More likely, the wolf had made a calculation. The exhausted elk was no longer worth the enormous risk or energy required. Sometimes the smartest hunt is the one never attempted. Yet the story doesn't end there. Only a few days later, ravens circled above the valley. The old elk had finally died, not from wolf teeth, but from the unforgiving winter itself. For wolves, scavenging is a perfectly natural part of survival. They are not only hunters, but also opportunists, taking advantage of food whenever it appears. The old wolf returned. This time, there was no struggle, no chase, no violence, only the quiet transfer of life that has shaped wild ecosystems for millions of years. The elk's final gift would feed not just one wolf, but the entire pack. Ravens would feast beside them, foxes would arrive later. Even insects hidden beneath the snow would eventually play their part. Nothing in nature is truly wasted. The old wolf had not broken the rules of the wild. He had followed them perfectly. Sometimes survival isn't about strength, sometimes it is patience, sometimes it is knowing exactly when not to fight. In the wilderness, we often imagine endless battles between predators and prey. But reality is far more complex. Every decision balances hunger against danger, effort against reward, life against life. The greatest hunters are not the most fearless. They are the ones who understand that survival is a series of choices. And perhaps that's why this quiet encounter continues to fascinate everyone who hears it. Because for one frozen night, an old wolf and an old elk stood together beneath the same stars, each waiting for nature to make the final decision. Neither truly won, neither truly lost. They simply played their part in a story far older than either of them. And in the wild, sometimes the most unforgettable hunt is the one that never happens.